Well, I survived. Welcome to Crested Butte. It is freezing here. I think it's even colder than it was last night. But it is absolutely gorgeous. The mountains around are fantastic. So it was worth the mountain lion attack. Get here. Check this out. So here, about fall over, you can see where it was sniffing around, trying to get in. It wasn't really trying to get in, it was just having a good old sniff at this point. But that is where my food is. Like, the accuracy is incredible. That's the only point that it's been sniffing at. Didn't sniff anywhere else across the back. Came down the side at one point, but there's no nose prints or anything down there. There's a slightly more significant one there, and I'm wondering if that might be a paw. But yeah, incredible sense of smell. So that was quite exciting in a very terrifying way. Also, the cold temperatures up here are meaning the batteries are dying quite quickly. They're not dying; they're just pretending to die. You heat them up, and then they're like, "Oh yes, I can record a bit more for you." So this is the one that I thought was dead yesterday, and it was only when I was trying to record with the other one and it said it was dead after I knew it had power in. I was like, maybe it's just the cold. So got the other one getting nice and cozy in here, and so that one will be good to go in a little bit. But this one's saying it's about to die again, but I'm sure it's just because it's getting cold again out in the air. So, plan for the day. I'm going to take a little walk down the main street of Crested Butte. Just love the name of that town, Crested Butte. I might not even be saying it right, I don't care, I like it. I take a little walk down the street. It looks like there's quite a few nice wee shops down there. I'm not sure if many will be open quite yet. I want to get an early start because I do want to arrive in Nebraska some reasonable time. I want to stop in Denver for a little while as well. So, get my teeth brushed, take a wander down the street, and then get on my way, I think, and take plenty of photos today. This is like a ghost town, very beautiful, scenic, lovely bird scene, but a ghost town. There's like no one around. Oh, I hear a car. It's gone. Yep. Do you know what? That sun is so welcome. Are you blinded by the sun? I think so. Absolutely beautiful and peaceful. I do wonder what it would be like if I was in the middle of the summer. Well, because obviously there's a lot of tourists that come here. But you know what? Canada has Banff, Colorado has Crested Butte. And there's nothing really to do around here until stuff opens up, and I don't know what time that's going to be. Sleepy little place like this, probably like 9 o'clock. I don't really want to hang around that long. Some of the stores would be pretty cool to go into. Yeah, traditional looking stores. I guess it's really just souvenirs though. It'd be nice to go and check them out. I just don't have the time, I don't think. I love it. I walk down the street for like 5 minutes and there's not a single person. I turn on the camera, there's 3 cars all at once. There it goes. Oh, look at that over there. Ignore the car. The mountains behind. That is beautiful. Right, I'm going to head back up the car, which is all the way along there. And by the gas station, get some ice. Not that I needed ice. But for the cooler, get some ice for the cooler. Keep the milk fresh and cheese and ham and whatever. And get on my way. Get some photos taken. Well, this part of America isn't quite as dramatic as the canyons of Utah. For me, this is the best. The high plateaus, the beautiful mountains in the background with the snow on top, just very sharp peaks, and then in the foreground you've got the grassy pastures and the pine forests. If I was to live anywhere, this would be the kind of environment I'd want to live in. In a lot of ways, it's like Scotland. It's got all those elements that I love about Scotland, but minus the ridiculous amounts of heather that have all the ticks in them, and the roads where you can these roads you can drive 60 miles per hour on and not risk life and limb at every single turn, bump, and wind and everything like that. Just because it's wider, smoother. But that's just American roads, I guess. Also, the sun. You know, being in America, we have. I think we probably had a higher altitude than what I'm thinking of in terms of the landscape in Scotland. But because it's so much warmer here, you've got that sun. I mean, it's only 8 o'clock in the morning. And already that's a nice warm sun coming down. You just don't get that in Scotland. You just don't get that, and you'll get maybe 3 or 4 days in a year that you'll get this kind of sun in Scotland. And here it's not every day, obviously, but it's the norm. And obviously the winters are going to be bitterly cold, but it's beautiful here, and the houses are absolutely gorgeous as well. When I'm thinking about the kind of houses I want to live in, you know, they're just back there. Just drove past them. Should have stopped to see if anyone was for sale. I've not got any money to buy a house just now, unfortunately. But then it still comes always back to that big question. Well, even if I did live here, what would I do for a living? And that's the big question wherever I am in the world. You know, I can come across the most beautiful scenic places where I feel most at peace. I think that's important, but unless I have a lifestyle that goes along with that, it becomes empty. So, job number one on my list of life to do things, to-do list of life. That sounds a bit better. Job number one on my life's to-do list is to find my purpose. Find a career that I enjoy doing, that I can do anywhere in the world. Or maybe not anywhere in the world. One that I can do somewhere in the world that also lets me be happy. So the best price for gas that I have found so far is in Gunnison, Colorado, which is this mountain town. Absolutely beautiful up here. The sun's out and it is gorgeous. The hills and the mountains around are just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And, you know, it's the first non-super Walmart I've been in a few years, which is a bit disconcerting because you get so used to the way Walmart is, but at the same time it just reflects that this is a small town, but everyone is so polite. Like, just walking around Walmart, you finding everything alright? Maybe it's just because I look like I'm a foreigner or look like I'm lost. Or the fact that I was walking around with nothing in my hands at that point. But no, just really nice, friendly place. I like it. With the cheapest gas! Woo! Makes up for all the overpriced gas I've had to pay so far. And just as I say it's the cheapest gas, I see a sign for even cheaper gas. But I can't complain. You know, when I'm paying, what, $3.74 for a gallon, which is like 4.5 litres, and $3.74 in pounds is like £2.50-ish, $2.50, yeah, $2.50 for 4.5 litres. So I cannot complain at all. It's a beautiful day, hey, hey, it's a beautiful day. There's another version of that. It's a beautiful day. No. Oh, what? there's various beautiful day songs. Anyway, I'm going to get run over here. What a gorgeous, gorgeous landscape we've got here. This, I should turn around so you can see me and the landscape behind, eh? There we go. So, look at that. Absolutely fantastic. I could not imagine something more perfect to see. It is truly beautiful. You've got the lake down here. I don't know what lake this is, but the lake down there. Got the pine trees, grassy meadows. So I'd love to drive through that valley or hike through that valley down there. That would be absolutely fantastic. Snow-topped mountains in the background. Wow. This is what I came to America for. Camp as well, I suppose, but this is what I came road tripping for. Such beautiful scenery like this. You just can't find scenery like this. No, Colorado is very unique. Yeah, I could spend a whole week in the Gunnison National Forest, hiking, driving around getting attacked by mountain lions. I need to find out what road that is, because I can see an access road a bit further up the valley. This is appearing very dark on here, so hopefully it's going to come out alright. It's just it's really bright. But, words cannot describe how wow. But car's holding up well. Getting some dirt on it now. Getting some attack patterns from tigers, from mountain lions. Some mud splashes up the side. All good. And for Yaris, on some of the roads I've taken it on, I don't know if I was really meant to take it on the dirt road, being a rental, but I did. But it's doing well. Right, finally on the I-70, the interstate. That's taken me a long time to get to. Real long time. It's now after 1 o'clock. It didn't help that I took the wrong turning on the 82, the Colorado 82. I went east because that's the direction I'm generally heading. So, I'll be right. However, it's not really east so much as south, and the west takes you north. So yeah, I end up losing about 45 minutes there, which was very frustrating. But I'm now on the interstate, and do you know what? This is such an impressive road here. And just as I say that, it becomes less impressive. Basically, there's a river that's come through this very narrow V-shaped valley, and oh, we're about to go through a tunnel. I'll tell you as I face it this way. So yeah, this very narrow valley, and they've managed to fit 2 lanes each side along with that river, so we're all kind of stacked on top of each other. All stacked on top of each other, and now we're even having to go through the mountains because there's not enough space in the valley. But it's still absolutely fantastic. Really beautiful drive. Which is surprising for interstate, because interstates are normally very bland, you just kind of sit and go in a straight line. But this one's really kind of curving left and right as you go in through the meanders of the river's cut in the valley. And this is a long tunnel, and you'll notice I'm not holding my breath. And I've got a bit of a confession. I didn't actually hold my breath going through this iron tunnel. Ah, fooled you. Fooled you. And you thought I did. That'd be crazy. Like 2 minutes, I'd be like passing out by then. Maybe not passing out, but it definitely would not be safe for driving. Here we go. There's the valley ahead. So you can see the highway above us to the left in the opposite direction, the river to the right, and then there's us kind of cutting alongside as well. From the looks of the road, it looks like this wasn't originally kind of 2 lanes in each direction, but perhaps just this part here that we're driving on just now had traffic in both directions on it, and then the raised part that's going in the opposite direction now was a later addition. But it's still pretty intense, and I'm seeing a lot of whitewater rafters and stuff going past down the river. I'm not quite sure what river that is though. It's too far north to be the Colorado River. It might be the Crystal River, possibly. Let's say it's the Crystal River, unless I find out differently. So America has this feeling of being a lot more raw, a lot more dangerous, and I think a lot of that is just the way that the landscape affects the way, and nature affects the way that people here live. For example, we've just come down a couple of miles of pretty hair-raising interstate where the trucks and the cars are just kind of perched on the side of this mountain, and it's almost surreal because you're just not used to seeing cars and vehicles and roads dwarfed by the landscape to the extent that happens here in America. In addition to that, in the UK, a lot of the time, whenever they carve through a mountain or anything like that, there's a lot more protection given to the vehicles to stop falling rocks and that kind of thing. Whereas here, there's not, and there's just a sign to say beware, there might be rocks on the road. And then added to that, the fact that we killed all our wolves a long time ago, which were our only real dangerous animal in the UK, makes the UK a very sheltered place to live. Whereas here, you know, you're experiencing the wilderness, even in maybe not built up areas, but I guess in some ways in built up areas as well. Think about all the mountain lion attacks in the very very residentialized parts of California, for example, where the residences have encroached on the mountains, which is the mountain lion's territory, and as a result there's more people being attacked. But so what am I really saying with this? I really don't know. Just that in the UK we live such sheltered lives where everything's a stone's throw away. You know, like today I'm driving 700 miles and I'm going from Colorado to a neighbouring state, Nebraska. Whereas if you did 700 miles in the UK, you'd pretty much be at your destination wherever your destination happened to be. There's very few times you'd ever want to be travelling or ever need to travel more than 700 miles to get from one place to another. There's just not the space in the UK. But yes, sheltered lives in the UK, everything is very protected for us. Even looking at things like the NHS, we live in a society that we just expect society or the laws or government to look after us to a much greater extent than happens in the US. I'm adjusting the cell phone, my mobile phone, for making videos and shortly for taking photos as well. Expecting batteries to last 6 days with the amount of usage I've been trying to get out of them is a bit ridiculous, to be honest. However, I can charge my cell phone in the car, which is why it's still going. The iPod's died, so I'm now just relying wholly on the cell phone for music, for photos, for video. I've got a couple more photos in the big camera left. I'm going to save them for a little
while. However, as I was very rudely interrupted as the battery died in the other phone, and the other camera even, I was talking about how America is just a wilder place, the wild, wild west. Yeah, so coming off the Rocky Mountains was quite exciting. I love the signs as well. Truckers, don't kid yourself. Another 4 miles of steep gradients and switchbacks. You know you'd never get that kind of sign in the UK or anywhere else in the world. It's just as you'd say it, just bold and to the point. And then of course, as soon as you get off the hill, off the mountains, you're in the Denver traffic, and the Denver driving system is insane, but only about 1/3 of as insane as the New Yorkers, which is still the craziest I've met in America. And then as soon as you get down off the mountains, it's just flat, completely flat. Denver is built on a big flat plain, and I'm now driving towards Nebraska, and Nebraska is very flat. I'm not there yet, I'm just still in the northeastern part of Colorado. Not too far from the border now. So a couple hundred miles today, still to go, and my arm's getting sore holding this camera out. A couple hundred more miles, and then I will be in North Platte, get some dinner, and on to the campsite. Furthest thing that's signposted just now is Sterling at 91 miles. So North Platte isn't even on there yet. And I'm going to have to get some more petrol again. Let's hope it's cheap down here as well. I'd do anything that you... Right, we are in the Great Prairie? No, what would you call it? We're in the prairie, the Great Grasslands, the Great... What's the other word for it? Grasslands, prairie... Well, we're in the grasslands, or the prairie, also known as the breadbasket of America. This is the section of America that the majority of the food gets made. There's a lot of corn that gets grown. We're not quite in the corn growing section yet, but we'll be there very soon. Already I can feel the humidity's increased now that we're out of the mountains. We're still at about 5,000 feet, but I can still feel more humidity in the air. Also, this area that we're coming into now is referred to as Tornado Alley. It's the kind of the Midwest of America, where all the tornadoes kind of roll through. But fortunately, we're not in the tornado season quite yet, so I don't need to worry. That's like the other end of the year. But yeah, it is a lot of this. Let me see if I can show you. A lot of that just stretching on for the distance, and out in front very similar to the desert driving we were doing the other day. The road just goes straight for miles and miles and miles. Eventually it's going to curve round, because we're heading north at the moment. It's going to curve round and take us slightly more east, and that'll be once we're in Nebraska, kind of cuts that corner. So that's us. We've still got about 200 miles to do today. 5:30. So what's that? 3.5 hours. So about 9 PM we'll get to camp. Oh, we're in a new time zone. So what time will that make it? 10 PM we get to camp. Balls. it wouldn't. I mean, the time doesn't really matter too much. It's just the darkness that comes with the time, and the further east we go, the earlier dark it's going to get. Got some dark clouds ahead, so it's looking like rain. I'm not a fan of rain when camping, not at all. And in addition to all of that, I am stinking. It's been a few days since I had a proper shower, as is the nature of camping, and because I've been in the car all the time, the car is stinking as well. I don't actually notice it until I get out, and then come back to it and I'm like, whoa, what died? So I'm looking forward to getting to Sarah's, my sister, and getting a shower. It'll be awesome. But hopefully it'll be a bit warmer night tonight, and I'll feel a bit more like having a DIY style shower in the grasslands tomorrow morning. That's the plan. Because I'm going to get in late, I'm stopping in North Plateau for a Subway dinner. Just a big sandwich, really. What's really impressive though is how big this highway is for such a small amount of traffic, and how many billboards there are as well. There's a lot of them. But the traffic coming in the other direction's got the lights on, and that's not good news because people put the lights on when it's raining. And how light it is, you wouldn't expect this number of people to have the lights on unless it had been raining up ahead or behind where they are. So that's the joys. It's already raining. It's grey, but over to the right, it's a much lighter sky. So hopefully, as I say, it's about a couple hundred miles. So hopefully, I'll be able to curve around, and even if the storm rolls through, that'd be fine. Just as long as it's not raining when I'm trying to set up camp and sleeping, and that'd just not be nice. And hopefully, we'll have no mountain lions tonight. Nebraska! Okay, so you guys can mock me as much as you want when you see me. However, I've arrived in Nebraska, Nebraska National Forest, which isn't so much a forest as a grassland. Sunset, beautiful drive up as I watch the sun setting. However, you can see now it's very dark, and I got here, I've been here about half an hour now, and I got here, set the tent up, got in the tent, lay down, and every single sound was twitching and jumping, and I'm just like, fuck this. I'm not going to get any sleep. I don't even think there's mountain lions in this area, but after last night, mountain lion coming and sniffing around saying hello, yeah, I'm going to be a scaredy cat and sleep in the car again. Yay! Very rustic and adventurous, I know, but when there's killer animals out there, fuck that for a laugh. So I am back in the car, going to dive back into the sleeping bag and relax in here, and yeah, tomorrow morning I'll hike a bit, but for now, I mean, it's been, what, how many miles did I drive today? Drove over 700 miles today, and I'm exhausted, so I need some sleep. And I don't think I'm going to get much sleep sitting in the van. I've got another 500 miles to drive tomorrow to get to my sister's, so getting some good sleep I think is the most important thing, and I think the best way to do that is in the car. Good night, guys.